Well, greetings and salutations to you, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, here for a special, spectacular presentation of The Last Stand. And this lady you all know. And if you know her, you love her, because to know her is to love her. It's the one, it's the only, Jenny Moonstone. How you doing, Jenny? Welcome back to The Last Stand.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. So happy to be here. We're going to have some fun today.
Yeah, now it's your second time on The Last Stand.
It is. I went from not having gone on like ever to twice within the span of like a week.
Isn't that something? That's because you're special, Jenny. I don't think we've had more than maybe one or two repeat guests on The Last Stand, so feel privileged.
Oh, okay. Have there been many women on The Last Stand?
Let's see. We had not Magenta Pixie. That wasn't The Last Stand. We had Laura Eisenhower.
Okay.
And
you have had women.
And Laura Eisenhower. I think that might be it.
Okay.
No, I think I had I can't believe I forgot her name, but the Yoni girl, wasn't she on The Last Stand?
Yoni as in vagina?
Yeah, I can't remember her name right now, unfortunately. Anne Marie.
Okay.
I think that was The Last Stand too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've talked vaginas here before. No worries.
Oh, for sure. It's just, whatever. Vagina.
Yeah, we can talk vaginas. We can talk testicles, nipples. We can talk about anything in The Last Stand. We are completely open, adult, and all of that stuff goes. Mm-hmm. Jenny, you went to a UFO conference not too long ago.
Yeah, I went to eStudy. It was so freaking great. There's so many UFO conferences across this country, and disclosure conferences and expos and consciousness expos, and it's just really exciting. People
great stuff.
Are all over it.
Michelle Thompson's in the chat room. Michelle does a great job with helping people that I don't want to say are crazy, because that wouldn't be right, but she's a spiritual counselor. Can get you from A to Z and get you over the hump. She's a spiritual life coach, but that sounds so troll and ordinary. She's really not troll. She's got NLP. She's got a lot of stuff in her corner. So if you're having some trouble, pardon me, Michelle Thompson's a good person to get in contact with.
Fantastic.
Yep, and she's in the chat room today. I'm going on next week. Well, next week we're going up to. That's why I'm trying on my my Halloween jacket today, because we have a live event next Thursday night in Hastings, Minnesota, which is just outside of the Twin Cities. Rocky Stucci and I will be there, and I think Scotty Roberts as well, for a great live comedy event, a live conspiracy show, live podcast, and then we'll be taking answers as well. And then the next 2 days, we've got 2 sold-out shows of paranormal extravaganza and tours at the Minnesota Renaissance Fairground. So that's going to be a great time.
Wow. Jeff, the paranormal aspect of all this, I think, is relatively new to you. I feel like you hadn't done this before.
Well, I did it with Rex. I did it with Rex like 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago. And then that's when I was with a certain person whose ex of that certain person didn't like me doing paranormal. So I quit doing the paranormal, but now I'm not with that person anymore. Don't care what the ex person feels or thinks anymore. So we're back, baby. Okay. Did you follow all that?
Me?
Yeah.
It'd be hard. You'd be hard pressed to lose me. Okay.
I'm going to have to try to do that one of these days. Rocky Stucci's in the house too, my partner in crime, who will be up there with me in Minnesota. And then I got to the UFO thing because I'm going down from there, come home, wash my clothes, and go to Laughlin, Nevada, which isn't a place you usually want to go to, but this is going to be great because it's the Starworks UFO convention.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm debuting.
Do you think, I wonder if people report having strange experiences at these conferences. You would think that the higher concentration of believers in any given place would sort of lend itself to an increase in ET
That's
activity.
A fascinating thought, Jenny. There should be increased UFO activity at the sites of these conferences.
I don't think that there ever actually is, though. That's
maybe because nobody's looking for it. They're inside trying to catch a vision of Giorgio or George Norrie.
That's true.
They're all chasing down Linda Moulton Howe.
I'm not sure I really Giorgio's not really my favorite, but I'd still like to meet him and just say hi.
let me say this for Giorgio. He was part of what helped me, come into this genre and come out of my old stuff, watching some of his stuff. And we were at Contact in the Desert, and I just walked up to Giorgio cold, and somebody had said he'd been a jerk to him, but I just walked up to him cold, shook his hand, told him he was very helpful. He was very nice, very cordial, put his hand on my shoulder. I think he had had a few drinks the night before. He's looking a little rough, but okay. Giorgio was very, very nice, even though he might have been hungover. So shout out to Giorgio.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
Good guy.
You can't hold it against someone being hungover.
Big announcement, Jenny. I'm on Instagram now. Instagram.
Wow.
And that's why you're here. We're trying to, my numbers are non-existent with young people. Nobody that's under 30 even knows that I exist. So my son said, look, you got to get an Instagram, because if you don't have Instagram, people under 30 think you don't care about them. So I got an Instagram, and the first picture of my Instagram, Jenny, you'll appreciate this, me and Chris Jericho.
Oh, yeah, I love Chris Jericho. I really do.
And that's you would be amazing. Very happy if you met him. Great guy.
You know what, though? Chris Jericho is a little bit like, we're talking a few generations back. So, I mean, I know that that's about as young as you can reach. That's about as far back.
No, Chris Jericho's not young. He's 48 years old, sister.
No, I'm saying, like, you're like, oh, we're going to reach the young people, get Chris Jericho. Like, young people.
Yeah, but all the young people know who Chris Jericho is all I'm saying. Yeah. They watch WWE. They know who he is.
Has he been active in the WWE for?
No, he's got his own thing going now. He's got that all elite wrestling. He's the champion of the world.
Oh my gosh, Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. He's got a #1 podcast on Westwood One called Talk is Jericho. His band Fozzy just got signed by Sony Records. They're on a national tour, which I got to see. Jericho's rocking the house.
He's a Canadian, right?
He's a Canadian. And the funny thing is, Jericho and I are almost exactly the same size.
Wow. You kind of look like Chris Jericho.
When he had his hair like this, I used to get that a lot. But I wish that if I had Chris Jericho's money, I'd burn mine, Jenny.
Really? You would burn what?
My money if I had Chris Jericho's money.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's an interesting perspective.
But I asked Jericho an interesting question. We were done with the interview, and I said, Chris, when you were a little boy, what did you want to be? I always ask people that because it tells you a lot about them. And Jericho said, when I was, Rocky Stucci says he could totally take Jericho. I don't know, Rocky. Jericho's pretty tough. But he said, when I was young, I wanted to be a rock star and a wrestler. And he manifested that shit.
He absolutely did. I can't think of anything else. That's exactly what they are. I want to join the WWE. It's too late for me. I'm too old now. I'm an old lady of 30.
Well, 30 is not old, but it might be a little old for the WWE.
Yeah, no, they got to get them while they're young. My favorite is Edge. Do you know who Edge is?
Oh, I know who the Edge was. Heck yeah.
Oh my God, the best ever. Another Canadian.
No, I like Jericho. See, Jericho saved my life, and we'll talk about some important stuff here. I was dating a much younger girl. She's 20 years younger than me, and she loved the WWE. And it was on either Monday and Friday or Tuesday and Friday or something like that. And it came on the first night, and I'm watching her. I was watching her, but we were supposed to be watching the WWE. And I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to do this for a long time. And I hate this. It's horrible. But then the next night came, Friday night, and out comes Jericho. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. So Jericho saved my life for 2 years, making things interesting that I had to put up with anyway.
Wow.
And by the way, tonight, All Elite Wrestling is on TNT at 7 p.m. Central, according to Toth Mark.
Fantastic.
So you can see champion Chris Jericho and all the rest of them on AEW. Cody Rhodes is on there. You know Cody Rhodes, right? The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes' son.
Gosh, it's so strange that I know who all of these people are. But I was with somebody who was a huge WWE fan, and I was essentially forced to watch it.
Me too. Really Same thing.
But it grows on you because between the production and like the actual skill and determination of these people, you really start to like grow on them.
It is fake. I mean, they're not really bashing each other up, but they really
No,
are
but that
triple flipping off the top damn rope and smashing down and jumping off the top of ladders. And the stuff they do is amazing. It really is. And that stuff is really happening. I mean, athletically, physically, it's really impressive. But I was just reminded that Chris Jericho is probably not my favorite wrestler of all time. My favorite wrestler of all time would be Nacho
Oh my God.
Libre.
I just watched that recently, actually. It's a feel-good movie all the way around.
It is a feel-good movie, absolutely. So, Jenny Moonstone, you need to put the pedal to the metal and get yourself out on your channel more, because we need a young, reasonably attractive, intelligent girl out there talking about the stuff we talk about.
Yeah, I know.
You should be on Fox News. Why are you not on Fox News?
No, I'd love to be on Fox News. I have to work on my credibility. Because some of the stuff I talk about on here is just so like left field that they would just take one look at my content and be like, she is absolutely a Fruit Loop. We can't have anything to do with it.
Have you ever given Alex Jones a call?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Alex Jones would be a good spot for you.
Yeah. I don't know if I could work for InfoWars at this stage in the game. I really don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about InfoWars. I didn't used to like Alex there for a while, but now I saw him on Joe Rogan, and I talked to Eddie Bravo, who had just finished talking to Alex, and now he had Sam Tripoli, my buddy, on, and I think that Alex has had a wake-up call.
Okay.
And I think he's a lot more back to be where he wants to be, where he was as a true investigative journalist. But his problem is he can't get over the Jesus juice. He is so hooked. He can look at everything objectively, but he can't look at the Bible objectively. And that's the thing that's holding him back. Yeah. And I'm doing everything I can to get on that show. I'm everything short of camping out at the InfoWars facility.
Right. Just grab a tent and a sign.
But that's not a bad idea. Alex, have me on.
No, that would be amazing. Listen, put it out there. I'm sure we can manifest it. And after you do that, I'll ask for a job as one of their field reporters. That would be so fun.
I bet they would hire you.
Probably. They would be stupid not to. I'm so ballsy. Like, I'll do anything. There's nothing.
You're a little bit out there for them, but if you don't mind kind of, towing the line a little bit, you'd probably be okay.
I can take direction. That's okay. And admittedly, I haven't been able to lock down sort of like laser focus any particular, subject matter, because there's so many different things that I want to talk about. There's so many different things I'm interested in. So I would actually love to work for a company, an organization that was like, so this is what we're going to do. I'd be like, okay.
Okay, Jenny. So today your job is to give us some understandable commentary on the impeachment proceedings. You got a 45-minute spot on the impeachment. Go.
Lord Jesus. No,
I wouldn't start with that.
Lord Jesus.
And truthers will question everything except for the Bible.
Right.
So Jenny, talk to us about the impeachment.
Okay, no, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know what the F is going on, because I've been going through an incredibly, an extreme transition phase in my own personal life. So I've been far removed from the political arena.
Is that a paintbrush or a makeup brush?
This is a paintbrush. I'm actually in this lovely art room here, surrounded by every manner of paint utensil and substance that you could possibly imagine. So yeah, a lot of things have changed in my life recently. And so I haven't been tracking as closely as I used to, but I am now in a situation where I'm within earshot of CNN almost 24 hours a day, as long as while I'm here. So it has given me some interesting perspective as to the other side, and the really strongly held delusion that he truly is going to be impeached.
It's so crazy. My mother and her husband, my stepfather too, the smartest people I know, they listen to CNN 24/7 and they believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They believe it.
They really do. I know.
I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Now, what do you say to people like this? Jake, Farron, Merlin. I'm glad Jake's in the chat room. I hope he comes back. But Jake makes a statement, Alex is a Luciferian. How would you respond to that?
So I think we need to be really careful about that label. Okay. Just in general, we need to start defining what we mean when we call somebody a Satanist or a Luciferian. I don't know if you heard it, but Alex himself, he was on Joe Rogan and he was telling a story about
great interview, like 4 hours, and it was epic.
Amazing. Like amazing. I didn't even know that he knew that stuff. Like he knows what's going on. Alex Jones
has forgotten more about this than you and I know combined.
Yeah, absolutely. He was talking about the magicians that use the crystals in the temple and
no notes. It's all extemporaneous. It's all up there in that dome of his.
He just knows. So he did admit that he was approached by a kind of cult liaison in the form of like a sophomore or like a senior girl that seduced him, took him back to.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I do.
And then so they get done. He was like, it was the best sex I ever had. She picks me up in her nice car, brings me back to her mansion, best sex ever. Go downstairs and her dad comes home and the dad says to him, oh, it's just so vile. He's like, the dad says to him, oh, you like to screw her, right? I do too. Like, what? So, case in point, like this is.
So did they know the future? Do they know who Alex Jones was going to be at that time? Had they traveled to the future? Had they remote viewed? Are they from the future?
Yes, and yes.
I love the way you think, Jenny.
Yeah. So we've talked about this before, but they absolutely can. They have some kind of creepy technology that allows them to track the various trajectories of any individual's life.
Yes, multiple life paths.
And so, we can just assume, and I'm sure he understands this now in retrospect, it's actually not as complicated as it seems. It's actually quite simple. But you simply go in and you try to interfere as early on as you possibly can in order to control that person. And I think
Jenny, do you think the abortion industry started an effort or a conjunction with that?
Well, sure. Why not? Yeah. I mean, it's so sad because the abortion issue is slippery, and there should be guidelines with it, but what they've actually been able to perpetuate is just the worst.
It's horrific.
Just the worst. Have you seen some of these people, some of these doctors that work for Planned Parenthood? They brag about the amount of babies that they have terminated.
And they brag about the financial value of body parts from these children that have been butchered in their mother's womb, which should be the safest place in America, but is almost statistically as dangerous as swimming in shark-infested waters, ladies and gentlemen.
It really is. It's so terrible. And, so kind of in line with that thought, recently Trump, they're calling it Trump's military or Trump's army, which I love.
I do too.
We can call them the white hats. We can call them the resistance within the military intelligence agencies, within the.
And Jones is all over this too. Alex Jones knows all about this.
You know what? I'm going to apply for a position at InfoWars. I'm just going to do it.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Why not? I'll never do anything unethical. I would never, just point blank lie about some stuff that really mattered. But
so what I have to ask you this, everybody's warning, would you take one for the team with Alex Jones to get on InfoWars?
No. Oh God. No.
Good for you, Jenny. It's not worth it.
No, it's totally not. It would just,
but Alex isn't an unattractive guy.
No, that's not why.
It's your integrity, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's married.
No, not anymore. I don't think he is. Or did he get remarried?
He got remarried.
Oh, okay. So Alex is married.
He got a divorce from his wife of a long time, and then he remarried a woman
And
that
she,
he,
I
like,
think,
couldn't
was
stop.
of the Israeli religious persuasion.
Yes, I believe so.
And that was part of the whole thing about, maybe that's why Alex had part of his come to, that's Alex's problem, is it was a come to Jesus meeting. He can't get beyond the come to Jesus meeting. So he gets rid of the Hebraically religiously inclined lady, or she got rid of him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's not married to that Leanne chick that used to be on his show, is he?
No.
Oh.
The funniest comment I've ever heard him make about his current wife is she's not street legal. I thought that was so cute. I was like, that's a man who loves his
But
woman.
I mean, I shouldn't say this, but if that Leanne chick can get a job at InfoWars, you can get a job at InfoWars, because she couldn't string two sentences together.
I know. I shouldn't talk crappy about any of my potential future coworkers.
I know, and that'll probably come back to haunt me. But if Alex hears that, he knows it's true. And if Leanne hears that, she knows it's true. So step up your game a little bit, girl.
Oh, no. We can be friends. We could go out for a drink. We can be friends.
So they actually tried to get Alex Jones off his path. And I know 100% for sure that Alex Jones is not Bill Hicks reincarnated. I know that for sure from inside comedic sources within the LA comedy labyrinth. Inside information that you'll only hear here and maybe Tinfoil Podcast, maybe Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, but that's the only place you'd hear it from.
Have you you've spoken to Eddie Bravo?
Dude, Eddie, I was locked in a room literally with Eddie Bravo for like 3 hours.
Wow. And you like the guy? He's cool, huh?
Eddie is exactly what you see on video. Love the guy. Straight up, genuine. He is who he is. Cole Martin says Eddie is a man. Eddie is the man. And we don't agree on everything. We agree on a lot of things. But Eddie Bravo, he's not afraid. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care if you defriend him. He doesn't care if you quit coming to his BJJ studio. He's going to tell you what he thinks. And he tapped out of Gracie, bro.
Wow.
He's legit.
You know, there's such an interesting connection between mixed martial arts, like the modern, corporate essence of mixed martial arts, and esoteric, like the esoteric world. Those two things conjoined, I want to say, maybe 12 years ago, but no more.
But it's because the people that are into BJJ have the discipline. They have the mindset of not taking what's top layer, going deeper and controlling and having a focus and repetition and learning and actually deciphering for themselves. It's a mindset that you're not going to believe what everybody else says. It's a mindset that you're not going to just take the status quo. And it's something about that I'm going to choke the shit out of you at mindset too. You got to have that.
Absolutely.
That Patton mindset, that Donald Trump mindset, that Jenny Moonstone mindset.
So, by the way, I will be retaining the name Constantine. So I will be Jenny Constantine forever.
Jenny Constantine.
Jenny Constantine. So, did you?
And I still think that movie was about you.
It might have been. I don't know. I feel like that sounds so arrogant, but there are so many synchronicities. Every time I watch it, I'm overcome with emotion. And
you guys don't know what we're talking about. I didn't know Jenny's last name. I invited her to come down to the extravaganza of enlightenment that we had.
You knew my handle. You knew Moonstone. I
knew Moonstone. I didn't know that was your stage name. Right. So anyway, she comes down and we hadn't said one word about this to each other, but I got up to introduce her and I said, and I just said, I'm going to say it out loud, that Jenny Moonstone, I think her life was the guidelines for the Angela, whatever her name was, character in the movie Constantine.
Dodson.
Angela Dodson character in the movie Constantine. And then Jenny gets up and says, Jeff, you don't know this, but my last name is Constantine. And I was blown away.
Yeah, that was a really crazy moment. There was a palpable energy in the room where everybody was just bam.
Yeah. It was almost like a Benny Hinn swing your coat and knock everybody down moment. It was sort of like that.
Yeah.
Only with integrity.
Right. Only with integrity. So that aside, so like my personal story aside, we know that movies, and especially recently, like these Amazon miniseries and Netflix, what they're doing is they're deriving data from the collective, and they're generating all of these stories, all of these, these plot lines and characters and archetypes based on what is coming out of the collective right now. And so essentially, they're just trying to get ahead of the narrative and use predictive programming and persuasion to kind of tilt the scales in whichever way that they prefer.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
Are you a writer?
I fancy myself a writer, yes.
Well, I'm a writer, and we're both very creative. And, as a writer and as a creative person, whether you're in our genre or whether you're in romance novels or whatever, trashy sex novels, whatever, you're a creator and you're thinking always about things. And I'm wondering if things aren't happening time-wise, just generically time-wise, that creative people, be they spiritual or unspiritual, will tap into that energy and pull it down. So they don't have to necessarily be trying to manifesting a new world order agenda, but they're just getting, oh, that's a cool idea. They make a great movie. Just happens to be a real life, real world spiritual thing that's going too. Yes or no?
Well, sure. Yes, absolutely. Well, as you know, there really is no originality left in the world. Okay. Every thought, every action, everything that's coming through us, it's essentially an echo of something that has already happened throughout the many cycles of human civilization.
But wait a minute, Jenny.
Yes.
I'm the only one in the world that does what I do.
That's true. No, listen, as far as blueprints go and an individual vessel, a soul signature, that sort of thing is absolutely individual and original. But that being said, when we play out collective timelines, this has everything to do with whether or not we collectively have learned from our past cycles, all of which are stored within the cellular memory of every human being. It's racial memory, it's cellular memory.
Ooh, so there's memory. Like collective human memory that we all tap into.
Yes, and Julius Evola, the man that wrote The Metaphysics of War, he talks about racial memory. There's the individual, and then there is the essence of a specific race. And what each race has to overcome collectively is the collective trauma that they have experienced in the past. And so they'll repeatedly go through similar cycles of, rising and falling and challenge and victory, and see whether or not they have collectively and individually evolved past whatever trauma, risen above that trauma.
So what about us white people that are causing that trauma? How do we deal?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think we all just need to go die.
Because there has to be some cosmic karma. You never owned a slave, never killed an Indian, neither did I. But we got people that have people that did. We're part of that racial group. So I have actually made, apology and stuff and try to make amends. I think that we should do that. Yes or no?
Well, okay. So actually, I can't confidently say that any of my ancestors did actually.
Well, white people did, Jenny. You're white.
I'm actually not as white as you think I
am. Okay, Jenny.
So my
I mean, I'm Irish. We the people from Europe are coming over and raping our cattle and stealing our women. So I was, I'm innocent too, but I don't want to miss out on a technicality. So I made amends for white people because I'm white.
Well, there's nothing, I don't think that there's anything wrong or, social justice warrior-esque about going ahead and making some kind of a heartfelt apology on behalf of, the people that have come before you. There's nothing wrong with that. I really don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. It's just like if you're in a relationship and you apologize for something you didn't really do, but you're just trying to make it, be good for the relationship.
Okay. All right. We can go with that. Sure. But then you have folks out here, like in the colleges, and they're literally showing up with, nooses around their necks and signs like, just kill us all. We deserve it. Like that kind of just blatant self-disrespect, self-deprecating behavior. It's ridiculous. And I think
so stupid.
it's a mental illness. I think we're witnessing mental illness. And so
isn't Beto the stupid Democratic candidate about that? He talks about, I'm so ashamed of my white privilege, and he's only like half white. Maybe he's only half ashamed. Maybe he's only got half a brain.
I would like to challenge Beto to a cage match, no holds barred. Just
you would whip Beto's ass.
I would. I mean, every single teeth, nails, everything. I want to rip him apart.
You would take him apart.
There's something about that man, and you heard he himself is a writer and wrote a story about the character fantasized about killing children. And so,
he wrote that story?
Yeah. That was his.
Dude, that's weird.
Yeah.
Dude, did you see him last night? The gay guy mayor of wherever he is from, Boot League, whatever.
I'm telling you,
he stepped up. He stepped up and got in Beto's face, and Beto looked like he was really afraid.
Oh God! Well, he's a coward through and through. That
he is
man
a coward through and through.
Absolutely. There's the warrior spirit, and then we have the opposite side of the spectrum, and that's Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, Beto's got the Jeb Bush spirit about him.
He just has that
energy.
Low energy. He's half he's just a dimwit, all across the board. But it's actually quite exciting, and we should be happy about that, because really what that does is that elevates Trump, that just increases his chances. 2020 is going to be a landslide. I've had some really interesting conversations with my parents about this. They're convinced that Trump isn't even going to be on the panel. They think that he's going to be replaced by Mitt Romney. And they're just I know. I'm like, where are you getting your information? Oh, CNN. Don't answer that. I already know the answer to that. But
Mitt Romney, I would love, if you want to get in a cage match with Beto O'Rourke. Remember in Fight Club when they asked of all the celebrities, which one would you most like to fight?
Yes.
Mitt Romney. I would love to get in a cage match with Mittens.
Well, he has the Jesus flag all on his back.
Well, he's Mormon as the day is long. I will rip the sacred underwear off of his pasty body and choke him out with it.
Oh my God, I didn't know he was Mormon.
He's as Mormon as the day is long.
Do Mormons have the Christ?
Well, it's called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay.
So they're Jesused up, a different kind of Jesus, but they're Jesused up.
Isn't there Jesus an alien?
Well, so is your Jesus. I know what you mean. I'm back to the white people thing again.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. Oh,
so about you said about the impeachment. I'll tell you what's going on in the impeachment in 30 seconds.
Sure. Let's do it.
Pedophile Adam Schiff got up in front of Congress and read what he said was a transcript of a conversation between Donald Trump and the Ukrainian president.
That's right.
He made it up. It wasn't a transcript. He made it up, completely told lies. Based upon that, they have decided to launch this impeachment inquiry, only they won't really take a vote of the House as you have to do an impeachment. What it is, Jenny, they've decided there's no way we can beat Trump in 2020. Let's try to see if we can say impeachment and bring every cockroach out of the woods. So try to bring us some kind of dirt that'll get him out of office before 2020, when he kicks our ass once again and forever destroys the Democratic Party. And guess what? The Republicans are always saying, oh shit, he's going to destroy us next. So now they're complicit in it. And the neocons are so mad at Trump for actually waging peace instead of waging war that they're sniping him from the back. So that's what's going on.
That's what's going on. Well, thank you for that. That really, it all resonates. It all makes a lot of sense. It's all coming back to me now. You have to understand, I'm currently now in a situation where, because CNN is all the time, I'm getting the exact opposite of the truth. So it's simply like a mirror that's been flipped around. So that all.
And not that Fox has all the truth, because that's certainly not true.
No, oh no, definitely not. Listen, did you hear Shep Smith left Fox? That's funny.
Did you hear Trump's?
Kids will die too.
Did you hear Trump's response?
No.
They said, "How do you feel about Shepard Smith leaving?" He goes, "He's leaving." And Trump says, really, tell me the truth. Is he leaving? He says, yes, Mr. President, he's leaving. He goes, oh, must have been for bad ratings, because his ratings were the worst on CNN.
Oh, wow.
But I wish him well, he says. I wish Shep well.
God, these people, they're like wax figures. They're not even, they're really not even human.
Here's a question from the chat room. Is a demon essentially just a malevolent spiritual being that's non-corporeal?
No.
No, I would say no to that too. What's your answer?
No. Well, a demon, my understanding of a demon, I mean, it really depends what cultural context we're talking about a demon in, because different, between Hindu, and then the Abrahamic religions, then we have paganism. All of them have their own versions of demons. And demons themselves have domains. Okay, they have natural domains on the planet. But a malevolent spirit can be just about anything. A malevolent spirit can be created by somebody's mental energy and mental focus. A magician can create a malevolent spirit by summoning it, by creating it.
Called a tulpa.
Yeah, a tulpa, exactly.
Well, a tulpa is actually more than one. Tulpa.
Okay, plural of tulpa. Interesting. So, we've got all kinds of stuff out there. So, no, a demon, in the word demon, at least the current, like the English modern etymology of it, is actually it's a biblical context, having to do with the legions of Satan's soldiers. Okay, right. And they all have rank, they all have names, they all have sigils. But I wouldn't be surprised if our current collective understanding of demon is actually incorrect, and if maybe they're not. Listen, I don't mess with demons. I don't talk to them. I don't work with them. None of that. But I
no Enochian magic for you.
No, not after I saw the movie Hereditary. Have you seen Hereditary?
I have not.
Do you like horror movies?
I do.
That is by far the single most terrifying movie that I've ever seen. I don't really scare easy. It takes a lot to scare me. That movie, I had to pause it. I had to get up and walk around, take some deep breaths, collect myself, and then go back in for
Hereditary, huh? Did you see the third Exorcist movie?
No.
Holy crap.
Is it scary?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Oh my
Big
God.
time. Mitt Romney ran, I lost that comment. Mitt Romney ran something called WWASP programs, which were allegedly for troubled teens.
Shut up. Wait. Stop. Let me stop you. I was sent to a place called Darrington Academy, which was underneath WWASP. It's Worldwide Association of Specialty Schools. I was sent there at 16 years old for a year. That school, Darrington Academy, has since been shut down for child abuse and neglect. And it's Mormon. It is a Mormon system. So that's wild that you're even bringing that up.
Two-time attendee Jenny Simon echoes Jenny Constantine's words. She says it's actually a troubled teen torture camp where they abuse children.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Bam. Thank you, Jenny Simon.
I was never tortured or abused. I got really lucky, but I've always had my wits about me, and I've never been much of a victim. I've always been a fighter. And even in those instances, there are still good, normal people from the surrounding areas that are hired there. They're just regular people that need a job. Okay. It was in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And the people that were hired there, their choices of jobs were the chicken factory, Subway, or Blue Ridge. Darrington Academy. So, it really depends on where you go. But there was a high security facility called Tranquility Bay in Jamaica, where at Darrington and any of the sister schools, there was Red River. It's so weird that you're talking about WWASP. There have been suicides, there have been open court battles, all of which is documented, and you can reference this on the internet as easy as 1, 2, 3. But all of these facilities had what they call zero tolerance policies. If a child or teen comes into that establishment and there's failure to acclimate, failure to adjust, if they're too violent, they have problems, they're sent to Tranquility Bay. where the child labor laws are entirely different, and that child won't get out until they're 21 years old. There was a suicide there. A girl threw herself off the top of the building, not at Darrington, at Tranquility Bay in Jamaica. And in the court documents, it was reported that the children were forced to use the same towels in which this girl, she threw herself off the building and her head exploded. And so there was brain and bone matter all over the towels because they didn't have like a washer and dryer. Everybody washed their own laundry. It was a slave camp, essentially. And they were all forced to use the towels with this child's brain matter all over it. And I can't even imagine that kind of trauma.
So,
and it's a real thing.
Mitt Romney, servant of the people, U.S. Senator from Utah, owns 6 homes, 6 of them, count them, 6, one of which is a ski home in Park City, Utah, but he lives most of the time in his La Jolla, California beachfront property, yet he is a senator from Utah. And do you remember this little slime ball who ran for president and did everything but give Donald Trump a reach around, and probably tried, but Trump refused, to get Trump's endorsement for president? And Trump gave him the endorsement, even though he didn't want to. And as soon as he gets a chance, all he does is talk bad about Donald Trump. That's a cage match I would pay to see. Trump versus Romney. I'll bet Trump would take him apart.
I think so too. The incarnation of General Patton over here, or at least some kind of a fractal, some kind of a glimmer there, for sure.
I agree. Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Somebody said in here, I wanted to get your response to it. You should never watch horror movies because they mess with your energy.
Right. I agree. No, I agree. And
I do too, but yet I will still watch one.
Me too.
I learn from them. Like, I watched the series Hannibal. Creepiest. It's the best, most well-produced thing that's ever been on television. But it was creepy. It was weird, but it showed me, I actually learned new techniques of astral travel and remote viewing from watching the show Hannibal.
Right.
Dude, they drop truth.
Well, it really depends on who you are. It depends on what your level of psychic defense is. If you're super sensitive and very vulnerable, don't watch scary movies, okay? I happen to enjoy, I'm a little bit of like a weirdo. I kind of enjoy getting kind of scared because I can pull myself out of it. I'm not, like, again, my energy is not, I'm not vulnerable. I'm not a victim. Nothing's going to just come attack me. So it's really just about entertainment and also about education. And what I will tell you about the movie Hereditary, it is one of the most accurate in terms of a cult ritual, and how how these cults operate through generationally, they pass that on from mother to daughter and so on and so forth. It's incredibly accurate. They use actual sigils from the Seals of Solomon. They use an actual demon by the name of Haman. So it's incredibly accurate. It's not, for some people had a hard time with it. Some people had a really, really hard time with the film and thought that it did bring negative things into their lives. So definitely, proceed with caution, use your discretion. But if you're tough and if you can just watch the movie and realize it's just a movie, it's just entertainment, then it makes for a great night. That's for sure. Very entertaining.
Yeah. Somebody asked about Heidi. Both Jenny and I have been in touch with Heidi a lot lately. Heidi is fine. Heidi is doing great. And Heidi's just too damn busy to mess with YouTube right now. It's just that simple.
Yeah. No, she really is, you guys. She's too cool. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, she's literally like just too cool for you.
She's got way too much going on to waste her time on YouTube.
She does, but she is totally fine. I just talked to her the other day. I'm constantly in contact with her. Everything's great. Yeah,
I actually hugged her a couple months ago and she's doing great.
She's good. I really hope to join you guys in some conferences here coming up. A lot of my schedule has opened up significantly. I am
good for
a freer woman than I have been in many years. So,
good for you.
I'm very excited about that. Yes, thank you.
So that's some interesting stuff. So
it is.
You really believe that there are people within, I guess, the cabal, we would say, that look at people's multiple probable life paths, and if they see a person that's particularly troublesome, they will intervene as much as they can and try to get that person off of that particular life path.
Well, what they're looking for is soul age. They're looking at how many incarnations, how many lifetimes, how many cycles that particular soul, that particular signature has experienced in this realm. Because the older the soul, the more they're interested in our memories. They're interested in our cell memories. Because remember, the cabal, whomever they are, whatever they are not organic. They're curious about us. They don't understand fully. And so they seek to understand it. They seek to understand who we are, what our history is. And it's all ingrained. It's literally all programmed within the genetic memory. So they have some kind of extremely advanced, probably some kind of fusion of AI and metaphysical capacity to track these souls before they incarnate. So they probably have tabs on us through the mothers. I think it really does go through the mothers. They can track the bloodline through that. And they're interested in the oldest souls amongst us. They want to know what we know. And they realize, oh man, we're going to potentially have to contend with this individual. And they have the potential to shift the timeline in a direction that isn't favorable to us. And so they'll pull out all the stops, there's nothing that they won't do. There's no line that they won't cross because they're not organic. They're not human. They don't have empathy.
I've always thought that they can't actually read our mind, but they can read energetic signatures.
Well, I mean, some of them absolutely, some of them can. Because what they
could
have
they read your mind, do you think, Jenny?
Well, here's the thing. They recruit powerful human/organic people, and they have them on their team now.
And who are we talking about when we say they in this instance?
The cabal. Okay. Namely, we can for now, for the sake of reference, to keep it all in context, a tight context, we can call them the intelligence agencies. Okay,
agreed.
We can call them the CIA,
the deep state, the dark state,
the deep dark state. They have recruited for many, many years powerful human telepaths, remote viewers, and they have them on their side. They have them on their team. A lot of these locations of interest are actually guarded remotely by powerful psychics that actually construct psychic walls and keep other remote viewers that are on the good side. They keep them out. They push them out.
Big business does the same thing to protect corporate secrets.
Makes sense.
And they have black magicians working for them as well. Michelle Thompson, spiritual life coach, says, can you protect yourself from that / them?
Of course you can.
I agree 100%.
Of course you can. I mean, there are a million things that you can do.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the biggest one is to disarm them by not being so afraid of it.
Exactly.
Understand like what the potential is. There's always danger. But let me tell you something. If I'm still here, I'm the daughter of a deep state operative. Okay. I'm still here. I'm healthy. I am sound of mind. I am powerful, stronger than ever. I'm happy. Everything all is fine and well. If they had the potential to just kill you like that, I'd have been dead a long time ago. I was in WWASP circuit. They have seminars every 6 to 8 weeks. They call them seminars, but really what they are is just some of the most brutal, emotional, mental abuse that you can imagine. 6 to 8 weeks for all of the children that are essentially imprisoned in these facilities. And they go from step 1 all the way to like 6 or 7, where they actually bring the parents in and get the parents involved in the brainwashing.
Sounds a lot like Scientology.
It is. It is very similar to Scientology. And even then, even as a kid, I went with the program as best I could because I was smart enough to know if I rally against these forces, I will get sent to Tranquility Bay in a heartbeat. So I put on my face, my smile. I made friends with the administration, and I coasted right through that with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a great way to wind up with a rubber mouthpiece in your mouth and electrodes on your forehead if you go in that place fighting like that.
Exactly. And I've seen it happen. I've seen administration bring people in as like the parents just drop them off. These people, these facilities will send muscle, like they'll send muscle to the homes of these kids and have them removed by force from the house and essentially dragged against their will to the facility. And if they don't comply and if they don't work, they'll put them in a straitjacket, drop them on their heads and say, oops. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's really quite insane. And the brainwashing, they brainwash the parents, they get everybody in on it. It's pretty amazing. It's all privately owned too. They don't have to comply with any state or federal conditions whatsoever. This is all privately owned, and there is a lot of money that goes into it.
Through the Mormon Church, correct?
I believe so.
Well, the ones you're familiar with, yeah.
Well, the one that I went to was all Mormons.
Right.
All of them were Mormons. The administrators, like the academic director was a Mormon.
And the money in the Mormon Church is insane.
And they were all real nice. Let me be clear. They were all very nice to me. And honestly, I don't know if that's because they knew who my dad was. There's a chance that they pick and choose who they're going to abuse and who they're not. And I've always had kind of a cloak of protection over me to where I've always been able to survive. So I have seen my fair share of shit, but pardon my language, but I always was able to come out of it stronger.
I've always had that too. I'm like 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I'm not really sure why, but I'm not really worried about, why ask why, right? Just roll with it.
I'm not worried either. Just roll with it. We're good. It's all a game anyways. We know that. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid.
That's why we're untouchable, because we really don't care.
Really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's how I think that's how you defend yourself, is you disarm them by saying, you know what are you going to do? You can't destroy my soul. My soul is immortal. Destroy my body. Go ahead and try. I'll come back for more.
Yeah. So question, is Donald Trump a powerful magician, or does he just have them working for him?
No, I think he is a powerful magician, not necessarily by training, not necessarily because he was taught so, but by birthright. Absolutely.
So he would be more analogous to a witch then, if I'm understanding my definitions. Magician is someone that is learned in ceremonial practice magic. A witch is someone who is just by heredity or just osmosis picks up. They just are that. They are powerful spiritually.
Right.
So he's more a witch by technical definition.
I would say so. I would say so. We call right. To take it a step further, I would say that the negative aspect of magic and occult, it's sorcerers versus magicians. Michael Tsarian does some fabulous work on the difference between magic, which is a naturally occurring phenomenon in this world, and then there is sorcery, which is an entirely different thing. This is forced, this is invoked, this is something that takes conscious effort to create, as opposed to magic, which is really just a kind of surrendering to natural primal forces, elemental energies, your life force, your birthright. But absolutely, listen, Trump is on some next level shit. Yeah. I cannot wait till he crushes everybody in 2020. Yeah. I'm tickled.
Somebody says, Trump does not write his own tweets. Number one, how do you know? And number two, have you ever read any of Trump's writing so you would know?
I think he does.
I do too.
He tweets the same way that he speaks.
He does.
And he is such a I don't want to say control freak, but I have followed the man for years. There's a show called Celebrity Apprentice. He was the guy, you guys know. It was his show, essentially. And he is so controlling of everything that he wouldn't allow somebody to just write all of his speech.
He would be very pissed if he found out that somebody tweeted in his name. He'd probably say, "You're fired."
Too. He would. You're fired. Yeah, exactly. No, he might not do all of it because he's an incredibly busy man, but he's more hands-on than anybody. Like it's amazing.
In more ways than one, unfortunately, over the years, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Well, toxic masculinity. What are you going to do?
Toxic masculinity.
I don't mind a little bit of toxic masculinity. I prefer
what this world needs more toxic masculinity, to be honest with you.
I think it's just so unfair that we even call it toxic.
It's not toxic. It's called,
I call it natural.
Just natural masculinity. You just have to. I mean, let's face it, Jenny. And I'm going to get so in trouble for this, but a real man, the game doesn't even start until you get the first no.
Right.
It doesn't even start.
Right.
In sales or in other areas. So we'll just leave it at that.
I hear you. Listen, I understand. I raised 2 boys. I know all about it. I encourage the wildness, the rawness. We don't, it's not like, act like act like a girl. Nobody, that's just so silly. Boys are boys. That's the way it should be. And honestly, girls are more toxic. Women are more toxic. I have seen more toxicity from women in my life than I have from men. That's just my personal experience. You can come for me if you want to. I really don't care. But I have seen women behave far more toxic than men. And I
Cynthia
think
L says it very well. There's not many male warriors anymore.
There aren't. I agree. And that's by design. Okay.
And Tracy Dyer says women are evil.
Well,
I can see that she probably typed that with tongue in cheek a little bit.
All right. Sure. Listen, both sexes have the potential to embody evil. All right. It's
absolutely.
A spectrum. There's evil, there's good. The feminine has been highly manipulated. The masculine has been highly indoctrinated, and the cabal is just working overtime to feed that imbalance, make the men more like women, the women more like men. They make us hate each other. They make us fear each other. So I encourage just nice, regular, normal male and female interactions.
Tracy Dyer says it's a miracle men put up with women. And I'll clean this up a little bit. My granddaddy, who was a very smart man, said, Jeff, if there wasn't for one thing, we'd hunt them.
Oh, interesting.
Here's let me just throw this out there. The great cry, the great scare tactic of the left is that we're going to have a civil war. Well, for some reason, that doesn't really upset me that much, Jenny, because I think about the people on the right, the Moonstones, and all the people that we roll with, Tracy Dyer, the people that are part of this network. I think about us, and I think about us being challenged to civil war by the snowflakes, by the I need a safe zone, by the LGBTQ, don't say anything bad at us or look sideways at us crowd. And I'm just not that afraid of them. If they want a civil war, come at me, bro.
Well, there's a meme circulating out there. It was a couple of years ago now, because he's been in office since 2016. And ever since Pizzagate popped off, it's just been pandemonium. But it said, one side has guns and, militias and, they have all their freedom and patriotism. The other side has dildos and don't know which bathroom to use. So whose side do you choose? I just thought that was so clever. And it's like, well, yeah, that really does sum it up, doesn't it?
So I'm not really worried about them. I'm really not.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not worried about it either. But with the introduction of 5G technology and a lot of what we're
Tim, that's harsh, bro. That's so harsh.
Let it go.
It's kind of funny though.
Okay, let's let it go.
We'll let it go. I won't remove it. I'll just let it go.
Yeah, no.
That's funny.
A lot of sleeper cells, okay, we can call them patsies, MK Ultra sleepers. They are all very much positioned within levels of society. They're in the schools, they're in the colleges, they're in corporate, they're all over the place, and they are pretty much just awaiting their trigger. Okay. And so that, I think, is the only thing that we may want to pay attention to. All right, with the shootings and all of this, the Antifa type of zombie-like mode where these people are not thinking for themselves, they're not acting on behalf of their own, instincts anymore. They are officially drone people that have surrendered their life force to this horrible beast machine, whether it be AI or the deep state or a combination. So that's the only thing that I think we need to be careful of when talking about a civil war, and realize that we are talking about malevolent forces. They're not just confused, mentally ill people that need help. They are confused, mentally ill people that have surrendered their soul to an AI, a malevolent AI machine that wishes the worst upon humanity. And they at some point probably will need to be contended with.
Very well said. My Instagram is Daugherty_Jeffrey, I think. So please do come in and join and follow on my Instagram. And I was just going to say something, Jenny. Oh, this thought came to me the other night, and I was thinking about a particular person, but it goes beyond this particular person. Yeah, and Loyal to the Foil, love Sam Tripoli and Sam and the Tinfoil Hat podcast. Thanks to you that are from there. Sam and I just did one not too long ago about, wasn't it about Paul McCartney? I think. Oh, it was about the Manson murder. So go check that out. Very, very powerful. We got more stuff coming up. But there's people, I think, Jenny, right now, and there's a lot of them. On the outside, they're people because they are an organic human, but the human spirit inside of them has been walked in on. I think not all of them, and I think maybe a lot of them not by their without permission, and either that human spirit is pushed down and captive or actually pushed out, and it's been taken over by a reptilian spirit. So we actually have reptilians among us that are cloaked, but not like we think. They're cloaked because they have pushed the spirits out of humans and are now inhabiting those human bodies.
Sure. And reptilian is just one. Okay. That the reptilian presence here is just an example of one race that has taken an interest in humanity.
The reason I'm into the reptilians because they're the ones that started Judaism, Christianity, Islam. They're the ones that are running the religious arm of the cabal.
Sure.
That's why I'm hunting me some. I'm on a damn reptilian hunt.
Lizard hunting team.
I'm on the lizard hunt. Oh, that's a great T-shirt. Official lizard hunting team. Although you wouldn't want to wear that in the wrong part of town because they might think you're hitting on them.
Oh, okay. All right. There are some people are into some weird stuff. I'll tell you. I am so just out of practice. I'll tell you.
But do you really care what a responsible, patriotic, pays their bills, doesn't do anything to anybody without consent? Do you really care what they do with their genitals?
No, I never cared what anybody did with their genitals. The problem is that they identify solely as their genitals.
Exactly. I mean, you don't walk down the street. Where's the straight pride parade? We don't need to have one because we don't care about it.
Right, exactly. And listen, in the defense of those minorities, a lot of transgender people are brutally killed, and they are, and
that's disgusting.
It does happen, so I understand that, and I understand people want to fly that flag and in solidarity with people that have been wrongly killed. But
I agree with that.
Then we have this just culture of identity politics, as we've talked about this before. But they're just two completely different things. Okay,
100%.
We always want to stand up for injustice. Always want to stand up for the people, the minorities that are truly just discriminated against violently. All of that is just the worst. But
absolutely,
then the other side of it, you don't need to identify as what's between your legs. There's more. If there's not more to you than that, then you really don't, then you really shouldn't have a platform. I mean, free speech, I'm not about censorship. Everybody should be able to say whatever they want to say. But the problem is that Mockingbird Media and the mainstream plays on the backs of these people and is exploiting them in the worst way.
They are.
I really actually feel for the LGBTQ. I feel for them because
I do too.
A lot of them, they've been through so much growing up. I don't pretend that their woes are not real. I imagine lots of parents were terrible when they found out that their children were gay, queer, transgender, whatever the case may be. That being said, since it is such an emotional hot point, I cannot stand to see Mockingbird media and corrupt politicians playing on these people's emotions and their mental health. It's the worst kind of exploitation. And I would even argue that you and me, just for believing that, are actually we're more activists for those communities, for the LGBTQ folks, because we are not going to make excuses. We're not going to exploit them. It's like, no, like, it is what it is. We're not going to use them for political gain. They don't, half of them don't even realize that that's happening though. Yeah. Because they're so off balance.
LGBTQ, my take on them is no one's free until we're all free. But don't make it your identity and everything's fine. You're more than that. You're more than your junk that's in your trunk. And nobody wants to see your dirty laundry. So just get on with life.
Yes.
Get on with life. Jenny Constantine, Jenny Moonstone, why in the world is it that Christians or that truthers can figure out the CIA, the NSA, the ATF, the Fed, they can figure out all these things and they can research all these things and they can subject all these things to scrutiny, but they can't do it to the Bible and won't do it?
Oh, I think because that actually holds that kind of indoctrination, because it happened so early on. It's as opposed to the CIA and the various letter agencies, the Bible actually is the only one that promises eternal damnation. And that is past death, beyond death. Whereas, FBI, ATF, you rage against the machine a little bit. Okay, so what are they going to do? Throw you, whatever. But the Bible and all of that dogmatic indoctrination does promise eternal hellfire if you go against it. And I think that the trauma-based mind control, the fear-based mind control associated with that is just a little bit too much for people to overpass.
It's crazy because the Bible the Bible is just another alphabet agency.
It is. That's an interesting, you're right. I would agree with you there. It's just another alphabet agency.
And it's funny. They even sing the song, the Bible. They tell you, they flaunt it in your face. Because then they can sit back and say, look, we told these dumbasses, they just wouldn't listen.
Right. Well, because they need your consent. Essentially, they all need some level of consent. It's universal law. It is written, as we say. They have to. So they don't even realize. And that's why they start the kids so young. Yeah. Is by the time they reach the age of reason, which I believe is either 9 or 13.
I think it varies between kids.
Right. I think so too.
Oh, you know what? I think you just hit on something I've been thinking about. The God of the Bible raped Mary before she even reached the age of accountability.
Wow.
And Tracy Dyer with a beautiful Trump. I got to work on a Trump. Trump is hard to impersonate because he has no real characteristic anything. But she said that after the 2020 election, things between Trump and the evangelicals are going to change big league because he won't need them anymore. The ass kissing's over. So if you're an evangelical and you want something from Donald Trump, you better get it before 2020.
I swear there's something about 2020 that has never, it's like the eye of the needle right now. It's everything has come. So it's all converging into one small window of opportunity. I've dreamt of this since the time I remember dreams. From the time that I can recall having dreams, I have dreamt of a period of time where there was a small, teeny tiny window of opportunity that everybody, every force that you could possibly imagine was rallying to hijack that moment and gain control of the helm. And 2020 is it.
So Jenny, in closing, what do you say to the wonderfully advanced, what do you say to those that are so much smarter than us, so much holier than us, so much more learned than us, those of whom that we are so privileged that we would even be able to lick the bottom of the soles of the shoes that adorn their anointed feet, all of these great ones that say, if you vote, you're stupid, don't do it, it's a waste of time. What do you say to those great, learned, wonderful, high and mighty individuals?
Well,
in a day such as this, it's 2020.
I'll be honest,
such as this.
I'm gonna vote.
Hell yes, you are.
I'm gonna vote. If for no reason, even
I had to do the
if,
face for Rocky.
Even if the vote doesn't count, this is more about voting with your consciousness.
This
is more about action and being part of something. And maybe it's already decided, maybe it's not. I'm not 100% clear on that. But the stakes are entirely too high right now to just assume that, your vote doesn't count or that so I'm definitely going to vote. And I say to those people, get off your high horse before it's too late, before somebody like me knocks you down.
Hell yeah. The point of the matter is we know that the last election was fair because the military white hats went in and made sure it's fair. We know that this election's going to be fair because they're going to do the same thing. And we know, love or hate the guy, we have a chance to vote for a guy that in just over 3 years has completely destroyed the mainstream media, who is now waging peace instead of war, who's wreaking holy hell on the pedophiles, and who has an executive order it was going to hit before the election that levels the playing field in social media. If you don't think it matters, give me 4 more years of a level playing field in social media, and I will change the world by my damn self.
I hear ya. Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. What do you have to say, Jenny Constantine, as we close out this rollicking hour and a quarter?
Oh, not much. I think we've said a lot. Thanks for having me on, and the chat was really awesome. We got up to 300 at one point, which is
Jay
great.
Crypto Minded with the line of the day. Jay Crypto Minded says, "This is manly, nice masculinity right here. Jenny needs a nightly back rub." Well played, Jay Crypto Minded. It's a swing and a miss, but at least you're swinging, brother.
Well, listen, I love back rubs.
See, that was pretty well played. It got a smile. And if you're in a bar or you're in a pickup situation, if you get a smile, you got a chance. You got a chance.
Yes, yeah. So on that note. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a great time talking with Jenny Constantine. Her website is jennymoonstone.com. And we were going to do some readings, but we didn't get around to doing any readings.
Maybe next time. And next time we'll prepare it. So we could maybe have certain events or certain certain things that we want to look at to gain clarity on. We'll be a little bit more prepared. Today we're shooting from the hip a little bit, but I like that. I love to just go back and forth with you. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and it's what we need to do. It's organic, it's real, and we're in. There's a Chinese curse. I don't know why it's a curse, but the curse is, may you live in interesting times. And we're definitely living in interesting times, and I'm loving it. Oh
God, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I feel like I have practiced and trained and waited thousands of lifetimes to be here right now. And I'm not going to waste it. So be brave. Listen, I am living proof right now that the universe rewards brave action.
Absolutely.
I have done things in the past, even 3 months, 4 months, that I did actually see them happening years ago, but I couldn't believe, and I still can't believe that they've actually happened. And I am just enjoying reward after reward after reward. The universe will reward you if you are brave and you take action and you face your fear and you just do it. You have no idea how great and how exciting and how free you can become if you are just brave and you just realize anything is possible. Literally anything is possible.
Absolutely. In the words of that immortal American prophet, Roddy Piper, he said, "We are here to chew bubble gum and kick ass." Yeah. And Jenny, we're all out of bubble gum.
Time to kick ass.
It's time to kick ass. Give us a great, close the show with a great General George S. Patton quote.
Oh God. Wait. Oh, I don't have any off the top. Well, what does he say? I don't know. Oh my God.
Doesn't he say something about some person that he said, "I love that glorious bastard" or something? He said something about anyway. Well, but there's a bunch of them.
What I'll say. To scare enemy combatants, he attached the corpses of enemy fallen soldiers, attached them, stuck them on to tanks, and rolled onto the battlefield with corpses, mangled and bloody, to scare the enemy. And I said, now that is a baby daddy right there. Now
that's my kind of general. Talk about masculinity. There you go. So folks, let's not only roll our tanks, but let's cover our tanks with rotten, bleeding
enemy combatants.
Corpses. Let them know that we are serious.
We're here.
We're here. Business. Armies do two things: kill people and break things. Mm-hmm. And we are the Gospel Truth Army. We're here to kill people, break things in a nice way, in a namaste kind of way.
Right.
For Jenny Constantine, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Jenny, sit right there a second so I can say goodbye to you personally. The rest of you, I salute you for being here seeking after truth. We are the last generation of real humans. History's written by winners. No problem. Let's just win today and together write a better tomorrow. For Jenny Constantine at jennymoonstone.com, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll see you again real soon.